Hey everyone, what's up? And I'm going to, first of all, look this up on my computer here so I can link it.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Yeah, I do apologize for that right there. But like I said, I'm going to link this so you guys can see it and everything, as well as edit it more together. But yeah, I am live streaming this via my GoPro. But as it says, this is a work vlog for the week of 12/16, December 16th to December 19th, today, 2024. And as it also says, another season comes to a close. So yes, another season has come to a close at this place that I worked at last year, and I worked at again this year. So yeah, another season has come and gone. But the thing is, as it's described in the description, is my time completely done with this company? We'll have only time will tell, because if there's one thing about this place, that basically is, I guess you could say, favorable, is it all depends on, it all depends basically on when the volume goes up and everything, It all depends on, when the volume goes up, and, basically from there, you can, try to apply once more, if you will, to see if maybe you could, get back in there or something. But anyway, yeah, another job, another run, I should say, with this company has come to an end and all that. But again, what's interesting about this is is the fact that what I noticed this year with this run is, not only did it go a little faster, sometimes slow, but a little faster, but what I also noticed with this run is basically there was how do I put this? There was a lot more opportunity given to me, particularly, than I think anybody else. And the reason I say that, as I adjust my seat here, the reason I say that mainly is due to the fact that, well, let's put it this way. It's due to the fact that I think it's due to the fact that I was there before, and I did some of these jobs beforehand, and they're like, hey, let's just get you over and have you do some other stuff. And that's what I was doing. I was doing, a lot of, what I had done, I guess you could say previously, with this company, when it came to work. They would, now some things were kind of new, and everything. To me, some things were kind of new, but mostly when it came to EAS tagging, or H tagging, whatever you want to call it, where you basically put, tags. Well, this is a lid and all that, but this is kind of like, this is a smaller version, but this is kind of like the size of the tags. But basically, well, you would put, I'll give you a better idea. This is like the size of the tags, right? So the tags would basically be, it's the electronic tag. So you would basically connect and put them, basically what you would do is you take them out of this little tote, you'd put them in, and there'd basically be like a demagnetizer on the side, and what you do is you would try to disconnect the electronic, basically the tag, the E tag, if you will, the H tag, the E tag, if you will, try to disconnect it so that what you would basically do later on is you would, let me get something here. I have to put these in the hand, but what you would do is you would basically tag them. So you take the white tag egg right here. Not the white. What would it be? Was it the right tag? Was it the white or the? No, it was the red tag. No, was it? I can't remember. No, it was okay. It was the red tag and the white. So you would put the red tag right here, and you put the white tag right there. And sometimes it'd be white as well. White tag, and all that kind of, interesting scenario. And then sometimes you have the smaller tags, the small gray tags, and you do the same thing. But, that's what we would do. We would end up basically sending, that's basically what I was doing at times. Well, at least one of the first jobs outside of trailer stripping that I was doing. And I was kind of like surprised, they're suddenly putting me to work someplace else. And the other thing they had me do, I think it was something else that they had me do outside of that. They had me do off staging, if you will. On stacking, off staging, whatever you want to call it. And what they would have me do basically with that is I'd be like right in front. Let me see if I can make a little room here. Give you an example. And I gotta pick that up in a minute. But I would be like right in front of the conveyor right here, and behind me was some pallets. So the conveyor would come. With the conveyor, I would notice some boxes coming, and I would take the box, put it onto the pallet. But sometimes I would put it according to the first two numbers, or the first number, or whatever, or even just the item that it's related to in said department and everything. So that's what I would do. That's what I would do, and I wonder what fell here. Hold on, let me see something. Yeah, it's weird. Something fell and it disappeared. Now hold on, guys. Sorry about this. Well, what fell? I mean, I know what fell, but where did it go? Oh, there it is. It's under my chair. I backed up a little bit and caused my Mona Lisa Dirk Savage figure to fall and everything. That was my fault. But again, I was trying to, kind of demonstrate what I meant. Basically, like I said, the conveyor belt would be like right here, and I'd take the item, put it over onto the pallet, and again, it all depended on like if whether or not it was the first two, whether you were told to do it by the first two numbers, the first number, or basically, oops, I don't want to do that. I don't know why I'm doing that. Or basically just by the item and everything. So like if it was all shoes, you put it with shoes, or put it up with like the 70 numbers and all that. So that's primarily what you would do. You'd put it with the 70s or the 80s or whatever. The 80s, believe it or not, were mostly like pillows and blankets and stuff like that. So that's what I was doing. That's primarily what I was doing. Like that was one of the first things I was doing outside of EAS tagging and stuff, as well as tote making and everything. But I was also primarily doing stripping. Did I do some shipping as well? Yes, but only when they would have us go there and help out with the red lights. Like if there was too many red lights blinking on and off, like the red light that's blinking on my camera right now to let me know it's being operational. That's basically what they would do here. They would have the red lights blinking above, or the red lights would be solid, and we'd have to help by basically going over to certain trailers that needed that help, or needed that push, if you will, and kind of stack up the walls there for shipping. Now, that wasn't the only thing as well. I mean, I also was recently doing what's known as A tagging, and what that is basically is items are coming off, items and receiving are coming off the trailer, and they're coming down the conveyor belt, and you're told to grab it, go like this, and then push it over here, so that way it goes out. It has to go to whatever area to be shipped out. It has to basically go to shipping, basically. So it's like, here comes an item, look at it, bam, there it goes. Here comes an item, look at it, boom, bam, there it goes. But sometimes you'd get an item, it wouldn't have like a certain, like, I'm told you're supposed to make sure it has the EAS words on there, or letters on there, right? It's supposed to have a paper that says EAS on there. Anyway, if it doesn't, then you're supposed to shove it over to audit so they can take care of it and they can correct that issue. You know, they could take care of it, correct that issue, if you will. And that's what they would do. They would go and they would correct that issue. They would correct the issue, and basically they would then, I guess, send it back over so that, you know, it got worked on. You know, it would get worked on and everything. And that was really about it and everything, you know. So, you know, that was really about, you know, it when it came to some of the things I was doing. You know, and they even recently they would let me just do it on my own. Like, hey, go have at it, you know, have at it, do your thing. You know, we trust you, and that was cool. I mean, here's what was interesting about this too. Because my ride basically would basically have me coming in a lot later sometimes than I would be scheduled. Like, you know, of course, with this kind of a job, especially during holiday peak season, you would be scheduled to come in maybe an hour or two earlier than normal. My ride, at first, when I started back on, said, hey, no problem, I have no problem. Like, hey, I have no problem doing that. I'll get you there plenty of time. And that was basically the 5 to 2:30. No problem. But when it came to like 4, and then later on with 5 again, they're like, look, I only did that because that was your first week back. That was your initiation week back, orientation week back. That, you know, that was cool with it then. I'm not doing it now. So I'd have to call upon people to help me out. And luckily I did have somebody here in, you know, where I live in town that was nice enough to say, hey, you need a ride? I'll be there when we were doing the 4 to 2:30. So I was like, okay, thank you, no problem. You know, so I did the 4 to 2:30 for the first time, period. And it's long. It does take a lot out of you, a lot more than 6 to 2:30 or even 5. But yeah, it was like it was an interesting experience. There's no doubt. Afterwards, after that, I would kind of get a ride here and there in case my other ride that would take me to the bus stop would not be available. So I would have other people offer me a ride, and the way this would happen sometimes is they would see me walking down, you know, the street. I'd be walking down what's known as Baldwin Street, to go towards Sperry Avenue, and to turn and basically go across Sperry Avenue, you know, and go down to where the Walmart is, the Walmart there in town, and where the work is, where my job was, I should say, or is. You know, I would basically walk down Baldwin, go on to Sperry Avenue, and then go straight to the Walmart that's over there where I used to work. And there's a bus stop on one side and on another side. The bus stop that's right there, you know, on the property of Walmart, on Walmart's property, that's the one that would take you to, let's say, Turlock, or it's like if you're taking the 45, that's a 45 that takes you to Turlock and wherever. And if you're taking a 40, that's the one that takes you to Garrison well, not Garrison, that's the one that basically, I think, takes you to, I think it takes you to Garrison. I think it takes you to Modesto as well, but it's a different route or something like that, I don't know. But anyway, they'd notice me walking, they'd be like, hey, you need a ride? No problem. And I'd be like, okay. And they would take me to the bus stop over there to go to work. Now, sometimes the lady that gave me a ride on those 4 a.m. weekdays, which was like a few weeks in, she actually like once or twice brought me home. I didn't have to take the bus, so I was brought home. And that was kind of cool. And basically after that, if you will, after that, you know, things were okay. You know, I was mainly doing stripping at times, but there was also times I wasn't even assigned to stripping. I mean, one time I'm walking in because we got this big screen, you know, right to the side, like right to the right of me, and it would tell you where you're assigned at. And I was assigned to EAS tagging one day, and I was like, okay, so I'll go there. I'll go there, and I did. I'll go there, and I did, and it was fine with that. And I think the reason they put me there is they knew that I knew what to do, and I had learned from last year. Because one of the things I learned from last year is you could scan multiple boxes after you're done tagging the items and taping it back up, and then after you're done, you print out the tags that have to go on them, and they ship them out. So you put them on the conveyor to get shipped out. So, yeah, that's basically that's basically what I learned from last year that I carried on to this year, if you will. And basically, after that though, again, I would basically be stuck in basically in stripping out the trailers, and for return items for both Amazon and the job that's associated with the Amazon returns. And there's a lot of places, a lot of retailers that are associated with Amazon returns. But anyway, I was into stripping doing that, and then sometimes I'd help in Amazon and so on. But yeah, I primarily did that at times. And the other thing I would do is I would do pack to light, PTL or P2L. I would do that, and sometimes it would mainly be the off stacking and everything that I mentioned. Or sometimes, I think it was just one time, I would go and I would help open the boxes in pack to light, and basically, shove them down to where they need to be basically utilized. Because what happens at pack to light is if you're opening the boxes, you're opening them up, you're pushing them down the line, so that way you put them into these store branded totes so they get shipped out. And I remember doing that, and I think it was like a month ago or so, and I kind of overdid it. So if I ever go back, which could be in a few months, who knows, if they put me back there, at least I realize, hey, take your time, don't go too crazy, take your time. And hopefully hopefully if I go back and that happens, that'll be the case. But anyway, what else? Outside of that, not really much going on, except we had the fire alarm go off several times. 2 days in a row, almost around the same time, about a month ago. 2 days in a row, almost a month ago. What happened is because the weather has been changing around here, from like warm to cold to whatever. Because we're going into winter. Winter officially starts this Saturday. But what happened is the water pressure got affected by it. It caused the alarm to go off. So not once, but 2 times. And then a couple of days ago, it went off again, but very briefly. And again, I'm assuming it's because the weather was affecting the water pressure. But thankfully, they kind of learned from that situation, like, oh, that's just the weather. That's just the weather. Nothing more. So yeah, basically that's kind of what happened there. And then of course, as I've mentioned before, I got my first, written warning. But it wasn't much, not much that came out of it. It's like in a way when they gave it to me, because they take you in, they talk to you and all that. But it's like when they gave it to me, it's like they really didn't want to give it to me. It's like they didn't really want to have me there because it's like, this isn't right. To them, I think it felt like this just doesn't feel right to talk to Brian about, things that he knows better of. And I'm like, look, I get it. I understand why I'm here. I get what you're telling me. I get why you're telling me why I'm here and everything. I understand. And I learned it from that moment. I learned, hey, you got to be, more careful about your surroundings. You got to be more careful about, what you do. And that's kind of what I did. I was more careful about my surroundings and everything when I was working. Because one of the things they got on me about was you don't lean on the conveyor belt if you're working in pack-to-light off stacking, even though it's just a green metal bar and everything and not the conveyor itself. because you might get caught. Something might happen to where you might lean back. You might just lean back, and all of a sudden as you're leaning, you might just put your hand down and it might get caught. So I can understand that. And then the other thing is to make sure your dark light is on. Your dark light's on when you're doing, when you're doing shipping, receiving, stripping and all that, so that, you can see where you're going. Even though sometimes the trailers have this like little, the roof is the roofs sometimes in these trailers are very, very variety-like, to where it's like, it's all metal sometimes, but then sometimes it's like just, I wouldn't say plastic, but some kind of roofing for the trailers, to where if it's nice out, the light just comes right in. Not transparent, but just enough to where it's like, why do we need the dock light? But again, safety reasons. And yeah, that was the only thing that happened, and I learned from that, and I picked up on it. I think they were impressed that, he's not only learned from his mistake, but he's actually calling things out that he sees. And I did. I called things out that I saw sometimes that were safety hazards. And it's like I mentioned in the previous vlog I did, I think last week or so. Yeah, last week. Basically, one of the biggest situations, I don't know if they talked to him, and if they did, it obviously led to him not being there that much this week. I mean, he showed up on Tuesday. This guy I've told you about that had some issues and everything. But yeah, he showed up on Tuesday, and I don't know what happened afterwards, but didn't see him yesterday, didn't see him today, and I didn't see him Monday. But obviously something occurred to where I think they just let him go earlier than expected. Now, I don't know if maybe they let him go earlier, or he just decided, you know what, this isn't worth it, and I'm not going to be here after, Thursday. Or somebody who works with him probably said, look, it's not worth it. If you feel like you're getting tired, if you feel like, things are happening that are not your fault, that, so, shoot, I didn't want to do that. I have to go back and do that. Hold on. I messed up on something. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to put a description in here and everything. I kind of messed up a little bit. Hold on. Let me see if... Yeah, I did. But anyway, like I was saying, like I said, I didn't see him there today. I didn't see him there yesterday. And, again, I don't know if maybe, he felt like, it wasn't worth it or anything. But what's interesting is he's not the only one I didn't notice. He's not the only one I didn't notice in all that. There were several others that were seasonal as well that didn't show up either. And I'm assuming what they did. As I just look at correct something here, guys. But I'm assuming what they did, because I honestly I didn't see them. Some of these people miss those many days. But I'm assuming what they've done, or what they did, is they decided, hey, I'm gonna use my paid sick leave, because what they do with seasonal and LTE is they give them basically about 24 to maybe 36 hours of paid sick. So, and I know that's not much, but still, it's it's still used at your discretion, if you will. And I've had to use it twice already, because my ride, as I've mentioned before, had a couple of days that they took off after Thanksgiving, where they're like, hey, I'm not going anywhere after this. You're gonna have to stay home, and that's what I did. Especially now, I admit it was on one of the days I was supposed to work was a day we're not scheduled for, but still, what are you gonna do? But anyway, as I was saying, basically, I would, not be surprised if they saved up some of that sick leave to be like, look, whenever our last day is, or whenever we get told our last day is going to be, let's use it for that day or that week. And that's probably what happened. They used it to basically say, hey, we're going to get paid, but we're not going to be there because why? Why should we even be there if we're not going to be there afterwards? It doesn't make any sense, you know. And look, some people could say, well, we don't blame them and everything. And yeah, you know, you have a right to feel that way. Like, hey, you know, we don't blame them for not wanting to, you know, work there, or especially on the week they're going to be, you know, let go. You know, we don't blame them. And look, I get that, you know, I get that you don't want to blame them or anything for deciding, hey, I don't want to work here if I'm going to be let go. You know, I get that. You know, I totally do. You know, it's not, you know, it's not something that you want to hear about, knowing that, hey, you know, we wanted to work here, and hopefully, you know, with the belief that it might become permanent. You know, look, I wanted it to become permanent. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's all about patience. I mean, the person that gives me a ride to the bus stop after work told me it took them like 3 or 4 times, or the third to fourth time before they got hired on permanently. So I might have to wait until a certain, I would say, you know, a certain time frame for me to get hired on permanently if that happens, if I go back there. You know, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to look elsewhere for work either, because I am. I am going to look elsewhere for work. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to, you know, try there again in the near future, because you never know. You know, you never know what, you know, what God is going to put in front of you. You know, what He's going to destine you for in the future. And I might just end up there again. Who knows? But honestly, though, like I said, I didn't see that guy there today, yesterday, or even Monday. He was there Tuesday, but he wasn't there yesterday or Monday, you know, as far as I know. You know, he wasn't there. I don't think he was there Wednesday. I don't think he was there yesterday, which was Wednesday. I don't think so. Because I know he wasn't there on Monday, but he was there Tuesday. So I don't know. I think he was gone for three of these last 4 days that we were employed. But yeah, you know, like I said, I learned from that warning and everything, or that written warning or that talking that I had with the supervisors, you know, and not only did I learn from it, but, you know, I think I shocked them by calling, not only learning from it, but by calling out certain situations. And like I said in the vlog last week, one of the biggest situations that I was dealing with was, you know, when it comes to these trailers, sometimes they're too big to the point that even if you're assigned to it individually, eventually you're going to get assigned a partner. And this guy who has issues was assigned. He was assigned to help me out. And I've worked with him before, and, you know, despite his issues, he is a decent worker. I'll give him that when he's focused. But as I've mentioned in the vlog last week, he takes what is, from what I've overheard him say to somebody else who didn't show after a while. I think they didn't show today or yesterday. Well, they showed yesterday, but they didn't show today. But basically, they told this individual that they take a medication called Adderall or something like that, and they've been taking it for most of their life to help them focus. So I'm assuming that's why they take it, to help them focus. So anyway, as I said last week in the vlog, and I showcased in the vlog last week, what happened is I got partnered with him again. And again, it's not the first time. It wasn't the first time. I think it was like the third time or something. But anyway, I got partnered with him again. And what happened is he decided that, you know, while I'm in the process of, you know, taking down items off the pallet, you know, well, not off the pallet, but I'm taking items, you know, down, you know, that are stacked up in the truck, right? The ones that are not palletized. Because if they're palletized and wrapped, it's like, hey, no problem. Take them, you know, to the floor, and take them to the assigned area of the floor after you put the drop date on them and all that. Anyway, here I am basically taking the items down, putting them on the pallet as best I can, and in a very safe way, right? In a very safe way. So here I am doing that, and he decides he's going to bring in another pallet to make things go quicker, and he's going to put the empty totes, because again, these trailers become somewhat like a mixed bag. You either get, I'm trying to think of a word here. Think about what I'm going to say. You either get like palletized items that you just bring out, or you get part palletized and you get part you gotta palletize, basically scrambled all over the place in the truck, or stacked on each other scramble wise on the truck, and you have to do it yourself. Anyway, what I'm getting at, like I said in the vlog last week, I'm doing that. I'm basically taking the items down, putting them on the pallet, so I can get ready to stack it up to a decent height, so I can wrap it up and take it out. This other guy, like I said, who has the issues, decides he wants to make things go faster. He brings in another pallet, and he decides that one of the items that we do sometimes get, and sometimes mostly, that's what the trailers are filled of, is flat, empty totes. So he decides, I'm going to take the empty totes, and I'm going to put them on this other pallet I brought in. But here's the thing. You're only supposed to have one pallet. Yeah, you're supposed to only have one pallet per truck. You're not supposed to have any other pallets outside of that. You're not. You're not supposed to have any other pallets outside of that, okay? You're not supposed to have any other pallets outside of that. Oh, what's this? What's this? Oh, I see. Let's see, the goal to engage community, 10 super chats. Oh, it's basically something new. Oh, it's something new that YouTube rolled out for the live chat. But anyway, you think, but anyway, what this guy did, as I was saying, is he decides he's going to basically, bring in another pallet and put, totes on there, because he wants things to go faster. So what happens is after I'm basically done stacking my pallet and everything with all my items, and I'm wrapping it, I have to get my pallet jack. I go outside of the trailer, get my pallet jack, bring it in, bring it into the truck, or bring it into the trailer, put it under the pallet, lift the pallet up, and then what I have to do is I have to basically, as I'm pulling out, I have to squeeze right through this guy. Oh, not right through him, but right past him. I have to squeeze right past him. And what happens, mainly, is I'm able to get through, but, what happens is, basically I noticed that even though nothing fell, there's that problematic, situation that something could fall. Anyway, what happened next, though, like I said, and this was last week, and this is what I mentioned in the live chat, not in the live chat, but in the vlog I did last week. And I showed this. What happened is I'm pulling it out, and as I'm coming back to the trailer after I pulled it out, I had to, like I said, squeeze through the guy, squeeze past the guy. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I am tired because I did work, but I have to squeeze past the guy and everything. And when I'm coming back to the trailer after I squeeze past the guy, come out of the trailer, take the items to the area they're destined to be at. As I'm coming back, CK, we're going to call him CK for short. He's a young supervisor in the area. He tells me, Brian, we're not supposed to have two pallets in there. And I tell him, CK, that wasn't my call. That wasn't my call. That wasn't my idea. That was so-and-so's idea. So I tell him who it was, that did this. And as I said in the vlog last week, as soon as I mentioned that to him, and then later on I mentioned it to the other seasonal supervisor, I mentioned it to him as well. It's like the light went off in their heads, like, oh, okay, now we see what happened. We get what you're saying. Okay, no problem. And basically, long story short, I'm assuming that that they talked to him. I'm assuming that they talked to him and everything, and maybe that's what led to him not being there after Tuesday. I'm not really sure, because again, he wasn't there Monday, he wasn't there Tuesday. I mean, he was there Tuesday, he wasn't there Monday, he wasn't there yesterday, and he wasn't there today, which is kind of suspicious. But my assumption is basically Either they let him go because he used up maybe his UA, his unexcused absent time, as well as he used up maybe his paid sick. And it's like, look, you can't keep doing this. We gotta let you go. Or they probably have had more than just me, complaining about him or going to management and saying, hey, this guy did this and that, and he's not supposed to. That basically it was just enough to say, look, man, we can't have you here anymore, even though this is your last week. We can't have you here anymore because we don't know what you're going to do, or what safety issues you're going to do. You're going to put in danger and everything. So we got to let you go. So yeah, basically, I'm assuming that's one of the reasons he wasn't there. That's one of the reasons I'm assuming he wasn't there, because of that reason. I'm assuming that he wasn't there mainly because of that very reason, because of the fact that maybe he was either let go, or he just felt like, look, I'm not gonna be there after Thursday anyway, and it feels like I'm just gonna get in trouble for a lot of things that I'm just trying to help out with, so I might as well not be there. I don't know. But yeah, the guy had some issues, and you could just, and I say it with all due respect, again, he was a good worker, but you could just tell he had some issues. And I think honestly working in a warehouse is good, but not working in something like trailer stripping is good for him and all that, because I could kind of sense that maybe they felt the same way, because a month ago, I think for one of those days a month ago, they had him assigned over to shipping, and I don't know if he did good on shipping or not, but yeah, they had him assigned over there like a few times, and then after that they just sent him back to stripping. So again, I'm assuming that they realized that maybe he just wasn't meant to be in an environment, in a warehouse environment that involves trailers of any kind. So I'm thinking that if he ever was to come back, because if he comes back, he does, I don't know, or if he was to go to another warehousing company, another retailer's warehousing distribution center, I'm assuming that basically the people that would hire him on there would talk to the people here and say, okay, what can you tell us about him? And they'll probably say, well, he's a good worker, but this and that, is an issue. And they'll probably be like, okay, we get it, we know where to put him. And they'll probably put him in an area that's more beneficial for him, in the long run, and more safer. That's my assumption. But what's even more interesting, though, is a couple weeks ago, I mentioned this in a vlog as well, one of the ladies that was hired on around the same time I was, she's a good worker too, but she was just like, she was just fed up with the fact that at times we would get sent to tote making. Yeah, we get sent to make the totes for the store, for the shipping, for pack-to-light and shipping. And, what we would do is we would go over to this designated area where we would basically make the totes. And these were the store-branded totes and everything. We would make them, or we would make boxes, store-branded boxes as well. And she was very vocal, in a way, with us, the group that went with her at times. Sometimes it was mostly all the stripping of things was slow in the stripping area. And she was just like, I'm done, with this. And I just recall her just being done with it and walking out. She just walked out and never came back. And I'm thinking, well, okay, I get she's frustrated, but that's not a reason to quit. I mean, I even told, some people, some friends and family, I even told them what happened, and one of my friends and family said, why would she do that? She should just be glad she had a job. She was making money, even if it was making totes. But the person that gave me a ride to the bus stop, or gave me a ride to the bus stop, they would say, yeah, that's not a good job, or that's not a good job to do for the day because it's boring. And basically they wouldn't blame anybody for wanting to walk out, especially, let's say, if they had time to burn to do so. But this lady didn't have, well, she had time, but she didn't say, I'm just going to take the rest of the day off and do my paid sick, or I'm going to do UA and whatever, and then come back. No, she just straight up left. She was done, period. She was done, period. But yeah, it's like you should be appreciative of what you have. You should be appreciative of what you have and not what you don't have, in a sense. Not what you don't have in everything. So again, that was kind of a surprise there. But again, it's just one of those situations to where basically, it's just one of those situations to where basically, not everybody's cut out to do this kind of a job or tolerate whatever assignments you get with this job. So yeah, it was it was kind of like it was kind of like a strange moment, if you will, that happened. But outside of that, everything was okay. Everything was fine. It was pretty much the same, but also different in a sense. I mean, for one, they didn't really do much VTO. The only VTO they did basically was about a week after I started. I started back, and they're like, yeah, we're doing VTO because we're slow. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And I think it was about a week or two after I started, and I'm like, okay, no problem. So basically, not even 2 hours in, I'm already going home. I'm already walking down Baldwin to the bus stop at Walmart, and everything, because, hey, there was not much to do. And then the other time they did VTO, even though they didn't say it was VTO, but let's be honest, it was basically on Thanksgiving Eve, when they said, hey, as soon as 10 o'clock, rolls around, if you want to go home, that's up to you. And, and they tried to say it's not VTO, but let's be honest, it was. And I said, okay, no problem. And my ride also was going to take VTO because they had things to take care of as well. So they said, hey, no problem, we can all basically go home at the same time, and, I could take you to the bus stop and go from there. So yeah, basically that was the situation there on that scenario. But yeah, officially, VTO-wise, not really much going on, because I think what happened is with those dock strikes that was going on, that's kind of what caused the VTO, and then that's kind of what also caused us not to have that much VTO as well, because we had to catch up and everything. But outside of that, not too bad. Not too bad. I mean, I got recognition more times this season than I did last year. In fact, I got one recently because yesterday they served us some hot chocolate with marshmallows and whipped cream and little sprinkles and everything during first break. And then during last break, afterwards, they had us all go into the meeting room and do like a little dart game, where we throw darts at Rudolph. Basically, it wasn't the Rankin Bass Rudolph that we all know, a picture of him. No, it wasn't a picture of that Rudolph. Instead, it was just a generic version. So we would just throw darts at him, and wherever you hit, you would get points. And I ended up hitting basically right in the... And they'd give you multiple chances to at least get something. And I finally hit on I think the head, and I got 50 points. And then as I was finishing throwing the darts, I almost got my supervisor. He had his hand like, whoops, like almost near the board, like, whoops, and everything. And I'm not the only one that was had a problem throwing and everything, but still, it's like, he was like, what was like, and the other supervisor was like, hey, watch where you go, watch your hand, man, but that was yesterday, like I said, and then today I was going to do paid sick from 2:10 to 2:30 because they were having agenda notes, and I figured, I don't need to do the agenda notes. But then I saw my ride was going to attend them, because I saw that my ride was going over to the cubby holes to get I thought they were going to get the lunchbox and they were just going to leave, and I was going to be like, oh, that's perfect, I'll go with them. But no, they just went to get the Rockstar recovery drink, and then they decided to go into the meeting. I was thinking, oh, what the heck. So I looked at my UKG, and it said basically, 2:10 to 2:22, basically 8 minutes. Because I think after like 5 minutes, if you don't clock out within that time that you requested, they're just going to give you 8 minutes or something like that. So anyway, I'm probably going to get paid a little bit more or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, they went over the notes and everything for for the regulars that are going to be there. And they mentioned that the regulars' schedule for the next 2 weeks is going to be Monday and Friday. And they said that they tried to get the Sunday and Monday for working, well, which would result in basically Tuesday to Saturday being off on both weeks, but that the people above them were not very fond of that. They weren't very fond of doing back-to-back days, which is why the Monday and Friday came into play instead. So you can kind of understand why some people would be a little frustrated. And what's crazy about this week, too, is a lot of people actually went home early, throughout the week. And I'm assuming they did that to do Christmas shopping, get Christmas decorations up, or maybe get themselves ready to go on vacation or something. I'm not really sure, but anyway, they were just like taking off and everything and all that. So anyway, outside of that, it was a decent, as far as the whole season goes, as far as the whole season, excuse me, it was a decent run. It was a decent second run, and really appreciated it. Just had the chance to work and make some money during this time frame. I'm gonna have to do my UE real soon, which is unemployment. Got to recertify on that again, or reopen my claim and all that, and continue where I left off, as well as start a savings account. I understand that basically I'm gonna get my next check, my final check, within the next week or so, or maybe within the next 24 hours, because according to California law, you're supposed to get it like on your last day, or at least a little after your last day. So we'll see what happens. But outside of that, again, it was a great second time, great second time around, and maybe it was me. Maybe it was me, but well, what's crazy is I could tell that this girl was about maybe a little older than one of my well, I'll put it this way. This this young lady was younger than me, maybe in her 20s. And was it just me? I don't know if it was me or something, but it almost felt like in these final weeks she was kind of flirting with me a little bit. And I know people would say, well, and I know people that are close to me would be like, well, why would she flirt with you? Look at your, teeth situation. And I'm like, yeah, but sometimes people don't look at that. They look at the person, and what's on the inside, not what's on the outside. So I don't know. I don't know if she was flirting with me and everything, but she was very friendly, probably more friendly than normal. And there were times and she said, like there was one time last week, she sat at the same table with me saying hi, and everything. And then I sat at the table with her today, and then she was kind of concerned about, me taking out one of my final pallets, because we have what's known as 561s, which are mainly items for the store, not Amazon. So she was kind of concerned, like, oh my God, Brian, are you okay? Are you okay getting that out and everything? And so I don't know. Maybe it's just God kind of gave me an idea of who might be in my future down the line, if you will, as far as like, a companion, for life and everything. But, we'll see. But it felt like she was kind of flirting. That's just me. But outside of that, like I said, it was a great second run, and they treated us to Thanksgiving dinner. They treated us to hot chocolate. They treated us to some ice cream and everything. I think that's what they did as well. So yeah, it's a great place to work at. This job, this company, and I was just happy to be part of it. And just to show you everything, I'm gonna basically cover this, but that's basically the tag. That was basically my associate's tag right there. Hey guys, sorry about that. The camera got a little hot, so I do apologize. I'm gonna resume this as best I can, and basically, like I said, the camera got a little hot, So I do apologize for that. I'm going to try to resume this as best I can, as quickly as I can. I'm also charging it right now. That's the other reason it got hot, is because it's getting low on battery. But anyway, like I was saying, let me get my thing here. This basically here is how we would, this is basically here how we would, have our TK number and our associate ID. The TK number was to, for us to log into RF devices like scan guns and everything. And then the associate ID, if you will, was to allow us to basically clock out and clock in, and go out or clock out for lunch, clock in for, and all that. And that's basically what it would allow us to do. It would allow us to do that. So, so yeah, that's that's one of the things right there. And then the other thing, excuse me, there was of course this was my tag as well, and we would use this in case we didn't, and a lot of people would use their tags and all that. But once you kind of memorized your associate ID, you could just type it in, you'd be good. But for those that didn't, memorize it or didn't want to memorize it, they'd basically slide this like this. They would slide it, and everything, and then they would, basically acknowledge if they had lunch, if they had breaks, and all that. So that's mainly what they would do. That's mainly what they would do and everything with this. That's mainly what they would do with this and everything. They would basically, as I fix stuff here, I'm going to have to put a part 2 on this, and then maybe I'll edit it all together later. Yeah, there we go. But anyway, like I said, basically, that's the one thing they would have us do. That's the other thing they gave us, was those things, of course. And what was interesting about my tag and my ID thing is, of course, they would give you a clip, right? So I'd have a clip for these things. I'd have a clip, but for some reason the clip would always break. So I had to ask for another clip, and they never got me another clip because, of course, things were busy. They had other things to do and all that. But yeah, the clip, the original clip, which is right here. I think this is one. Yeah, this is one of the original clips they gave me. This clip here would always break. It was for some reason just coming loose. And then what's crazy is today I'm on the bus and I noticed, oh, I had an extra clip I should say, the whole time. So I could have used that. I just didn't notice. Anyway, though, like I said, basically, they gave us those things to help us out and everything, going, as we were working and stuff, to, like I say, log, like, again, this tag here with like if you didn't want to type in your number, you could just slide it real quick, information comes up, and then you could be like, okay, yes, break, I had a break, yes, I had a break, yes, I had a lunch, or you slide it, it's like, okay, I'm going to lunch, done, and all that. This one here, like I said, this one here was to help you have your number and your ID, your TK number for like the scan guns and all that, as well as your ID number, for, just in case, you couldn't think of it. Like the TK number for the scan guns, to log in onto the UKG, or to log in on the computer. There, you can even use it to log into computer. Here, log into your computer here on the website, on the HR site and everything, to check things out. So you could do that as well. And yeah, that's what that was for, and everything. So kind of glad about that. I can just get this thing up again. There we go. You know, there we go. Do that. But anyway, though, let's see what else I have to make sure I got everything here. Oh yeah, I gotta go put this in vlog and all that. So let's see, I need, we're good. But yeah, anyway, like I said, they allowed us to do that and everything. Oh, they gave us those things to, to, I guess, help us out a little bit more and all that. And then here is my recent pair of gloves, of course. I have my other pair somewhere. I think I threw my other pair away, as a matter of fact, now I think about it. But yeah, here's my other pair of gloves, if you will. And then what's interesting is I found this in one of the trailers. I guess people at one of the stores, one of the cold stores, dropped it and, didn't decide to grab it and before they shut the trailer and everything, and now it's here in my hand, if you will. And then of course I have my earbuds and everything that of course I had to listen to music and everything while I was working. But yeah, nice little screwdriver, now it belongs to me. And then of course new knife and everything. They gave us this version. I actually have this version too, so actually, this was the version they gave me, but then I left it at home, so I had to get another one. It was this one. So, yeah, this was the original. This was the new one they gave me. Got a marker. In fact, they got a couple of markers, courtesy of them. Got a couple of markers, courtesy of them, as well. So, yeah, I got 3 markers and everything. And then, what's crazy is they still have the safety knife from my last time there. So I have 3 of the safety knives from the warehouse. So that's kind of it's kind of nice memorabilia to have. And I also still have my original tag as well from last time, as that I was there. And then this here is like an extra blade, just in case the blade on your thing dulls out. So yeah, this is an extra blade. That's kind of cool. So, yeah. Yeah, it's basically everything's gathered up. And this bag here is the bag from my first time over there last season. And the other bag they gave us is like right here. That's the bag they gave us right here. If I can move back a little bit. That's the bag they gave us recently. That's the bag right there and everything. So, and again, I do apologize, I am tired. But yeah, that's the bag they gave us last time as well, that we could put stuff in and everything. But, again, outside of that, not too bad. And it, like last season, I did at times when my ride that would take me to the bus stop wasn't available and nobody else was available. Yes, I did walk to the bus stop at Walmart. The only difference this time around is I would power walk. And when I mean power walk, I basically it's like a regular walk, like you're walking regularly, and everything. But I would put a little bit more oomph in it, if you know what I mean. I put a little bit more oomph so that I can, get to so I can get there in time. Because according to Google Maps, if you walk from where the job was to the Walmart bus stop, basically, it takes about 47 minutes, but it took a lot lesser, just by a few minutes lesser, when I would power walk. So, yeah, I put a little oomph in it, and I was good to go. And I always made my bus. And I was always, there a few minutes before it got there. So I always made it. I only had one issue with the bus this year. And that issue was because either the bus broke down, and I was waiting at the park, and one of the ladies that's a friend of the rider, of the person that gives me the ride to the bus stop, offered me the ride. And while I was waiting, I'm thinking, okay, I'm only going to wait a few moments. That's not an issue. You know, I'm going to wait not a few moments, but I'm going to wait my regular time. Well, I ended up waiting for about an hour because apparently either the bus broke down, and I believe it because the person that I rode with today, if they were the ones driving it, I would believe them if they said, yeah, it broke down. Or either they had a new driver that day, they didn't know the route, or they didn't know the route very well, and they just said, screw it, I'm going back to base. Or they could have had a rider, like I've mentioned before, that dilly-dallied, around and didn't follow instructions. Because, again, I'll never forget that one driver. That one driver that basically was cuckoo in the cabeza, if you know what I mean. But, yeah, I only had that one issue, and that was it. That was it. But outside of that, I can't really see any more than that, as to what, happened this year. And, pray I find something in between now and February, because February is when things start picking back up. And I've got a feeling, third time's a charm for the person, for my ride, for the person that gives me my ride to the bus stop, after work. They said basically the third or fourth time around they got in, full time. So I'm thinking if I could do that here, I can get in part-time, maybe with flexible hours. But we'll see. Because my plan is if I get back there and get the part-time flexible hours, I can do 8 to 2. I can do something like 7:45 to 2:30, or 8 to 2:30, depending on how I get there from the bus stop at Walmart. Because I'm visioning in my mind, go from the bus stop at Walmart, and ride my bike, and it shouldn't take me that long. I should get there before 8, or power walk and get there just around 8 and work 8 to 2:30 and go from there. And that would result in one lunch break and one 15-minute break, or 2 15-minute breaks. And I'll probably go to one lunch break, 1 15-minute. But that's up to God. That's up to God and what direction He wants to take me in when it comes to that. But anyway, though, guys, I just wanted to come on here. Sorry this was in 2 parts. My GoPro got a little overheated. Also, it's the fact I have the heater right above my desk and everything, so that might have been an issue. But I just wanted to come on here, give you guys a bit of a vlog on my work week, short as it was, which is kind of crazy, too, because you would think, wait a minute, people go into work tomorrow, right? Why didn't they just keep you tomorrow? Again, it's the whole corporate situation, the whole regional situation, and basically they call the shots over even the management, even the boss, and over the boss that's, runs the place overall. So, yeah, I'm sure if she had her way, I'm sure if that final boss, the top lady there, had her way, at the warehouse, that myself and other seasonal workers would have had at least till tomorrow. Tomorrow would have been our last day. But it wasn't. Just like she couldn't have the final say in trying to get, the people Sunday to Monday to work and have the rest of the week of Christmas and New Year's off. But what are you going to do? But anyway, guys,